Our human body is composed of 11 organ or body systems which work synchronously with one another to keep us on a steady state of internal environment, or also known as homeostasis. Today we are going to break them down in a simplified view that you can understand as a general person or a student very well. Start from the very obvious system in your body, the integumentary system, a fancy way of calling external covering, which include hair, skin, nails, and glands. But among the skin is the most important organ. Yes, your skin is an organ too. In fact, it's your body's largest and heaviest organ. Let's look at the structure of the skin now. Our skin is composed of 3 layers known as the outermost epidermis, which is a tough layer, and the dermis, which contains blood vessels, so the nourishing layer, and below that is a subcutaneous, which stores fat. Epidermis, which hold the tough structures like hair, nails, itself also is tough. All these structures in the epidermis are nourished by the dermis. Also a layer between the dermis and epidermis, which is known as the basement membrane, containing living columnar cells, which are dividing rapidly to provide cells for the epidermis. You might wonder how the tiny layer of cells are provided this safety. Well, that's because of a tough protein known as keratin produced by the keratinocyte. Besides giving protection, the integumentary system provides a lot of other functions to keep us on a homeostasis, so we would break down them in our later videos. So here are the common diseases that can happen to the skin. You can go to a dermatologist or a general physician to cure them. Yes, what organ do you think beneath the skin is? It's of course your muscles. Not like this, we have to remove the integumentary system. Perfect. When I say muscles, you might think of like biceps, forearms, and abs, but that's only one of 3 main types of muscle in our body, which are the skeletal muscle, the cardiac muscle, and the smooth muscle. Skeletal system, as the name suggests, it attached to the skeleton, so you can move around them and they are voluntary. Whereas the cardiac and smooth muscle are more like a visceral muscle, which make up the organs, so they are involuntary or you cannot control them. In terms of appearance, the skeleton and cardiac muscles are striated, whereas the smooth muscle, as the name suggests, present no striations at all. Like keratin in the integumentary system, actin and myosin are the most important protein responsible for the contraction of the muscle and the function of the muscle. As the muscles are present in many organs, the muscular system provides a lot of other functions besides moving and protection. Common diseases that you can learn furthermore and the doctor to show them. As we learn furthermore, with the muscle attached, we now have our skeletal system, the actual framework of the human body. An adult skeleton contains about 206 bones, which is not true for the infant because of their unfused bones yet. So they tend to have a total around 270 bones, which later fuse to become 206. For example, as you can see here, the bony plates of an infant skull are not fused yet, rather they form cartilaginous gaps known as fontanelles in these structures, which later fuse to form suture in adult skull. So now let's look at the composition of the bone. As with no surprise, our bone is mainly made up of inorganic minerals with some organic compound. Like many other organs in the body, our bone is also consists of many cells known as osteoblast, osteoclast, and osteocyte with their respective functions. Normally, we classify bones based on their appearance. With that in mind, we have 4 types of bones, known as long bone, short bone, flat bone, and irregular bone, with the respective examples shown here. There's also one tiny type of bone called the sesamoid bone, which is mostly abundant in a tendon or a muscle. The bone serves a lot of function besides being support. It is the storage of minerals because it contains them a lot, and its bone marrow produces cells, so it is the home for the actual cell production, and many more like that. As always, these are the diseases and doctors for the skeletal system. Finish with our layer system, we are going to cover the visceral organ system. To make that easy, I'm going to start from the top. So let's see what organ system are there in your face. At the very top, we have our brain itself, which is the control center of the human body, and it is the most important part of the nervous system. The nervous system is comprised of the brain, spinal cord, and the peripheral nerves and ganglia. Before I show you how nervous system works, I need to show you the derivation of the nervous system. So here's the division of the nervous system. As you can see, there are a lot. We're going to cover them in our later videos, so be sure to subscribe everyone. Let's see how the nervous system works. When the receptors of our body sends the stimuli, it gives signal to the spinal cord via the peripheral nerve and eventually into the brain, where it gets processed. And then this pathway is called the sensory pathway. And in the motor pathway, the brain gives response to the peripheral nerve via the spinal cord, eventually into the motor unit to produce the response action. A neuron is the basic functional unit of the nervous system that perform all the functions of it. And they communicate each other with action potentials and neurotransmitters. As you can see, these are the basic functions of the nervous system, and there is not a lot to explain. As always, here are the list of common diseases and doctors. So let's get back to the face. Below the brain, below the eyes, which is also part of the nervous system, we have our nose, which is part of our 2020 main system, the respiratory system. It starts from the nasal cavity and ends in the lungs. It also includes a lot of structures along the way to aid in the process of respiration. That includes ciliary mucus and other things like that. The main function of the respiratory system, as we know, is to perform respiration. First of all, the air we breathe from the nasal cavity passes through the respiratory tract and eventually reaches the lungs' functional unit called the alveoli by inspiration. As the alveoli is wrapped with capillary, it is the place where gas exchange takes place, which means oxygen from the blood gets inside and CO2 from the blood gets outside to the alveoli, which is sent upward to the respiratory tract to the outside from the body by inspiration. Beside that, the ribs and the diaphragm also play an important role in respiration. So these are the functions of the respiratory system. As you can see, it performs a lot of other functions by performing respiration. So here is a list of the diseases and the doctors as well. That's all for this video, everyone. I hope you enjoy it. The part 2 for the remaining body system is coming up, so be sure to hit the subscribe button and turn on the notification bell to know when it's up. And then stay safe, stay healthy, and be ready to acquire knowledge.